Scoundrels web series and podcast is filmed and recorded in their ship, the Centurion Vulture, and may contain language not suitable for all. Viewer discretion is advised.
Let's do this. Welcome to Scoundrels, y'all. We are broadcasting from the Centurion Vulture. I am CG.
I am Paul Bannister.
Curtis Wayne Millard standing by.
We are three grown-ass men gathered as always to talk all things Star Wars. And this week we are discussing, first and foremost, Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3. Curtis, why don't you hit us with that rewind?
Scoundrels Rewind.
Yeah, let's do it. Like you said, Mando Season 3, Episode 3, The Convert. Alright, we pick up right where we left off, the planet Mandalore, in the underground Russian baths. Mando has been redeemed, and now they can get the hell out of there. But it does not seem as if Mandor saw the mythosaur. On the way back to Bo-Katan's castle to get Mando's ship, they are fucking attacked by TIE interceptors, originally introduced in 1983's Return of the Jedi, probably because every kid already owned a TIE fighter, so they needed to sell them a new one.
Correct.
After a heavy-ass dogfight, they managed to do away with all the TIE fighters, but not before they bombed the hell out of Bo-Katan's castle. And then a shit ton more fighters show up, so they escape into hyperspace. Now we find ourselves on Coruscant, of all fucking places. The former Imperial scientist, who is perfectly okay with doing weird-ass non-consensual experiments on Baby Yoda, is giving a TED Talk on cloning. Looks like they're in the same theater where Palpatine and Anakin sat and overacted. Turns out the cloning science guy is in an amnesty program, and so is the hard-ass officer chick who is on Moff Gideon's ship. So the new Republican has this science dude doing boring-ass work. Therefore, he's unhappy. And like anyone who is unhappy, they are prime candidates to be manipulated, and that's just what this hard-ass officer chick does. She gives him popsicles and biscuits and convinces him to sneak into a decommissioned Star Destroyer, which is cool, to steal a mobile lab station so he can get back to his cloning roots. But it's a trap! She double crosses the son of a bitch, and he has to go into some mind flare machine. It turns out that this bitch is just as evil as she looks, and when no one is looking, she cranks the mind flare up to 11. Looks like it really screws up the science dude. And after all this bullshit, we finally meet up with the Mandalorian. Go figure. So Mando and Bo-Katan arrive back at the cult hideout. Of course, they're in a fucking cave. He offers proof to the cult leader that he has indeed taken a bath so he can be a part of the cult again. And since Bo-Katan has also taken a bath and hasn't taken her helmet off, she's welcomed into the cult. But Bo-Katan has a secret. And scene fade to black. Man, I did better this time.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
You did great last time, and you nailed it this time.
Well, you know, it's all about improvement. Shit, y'all.
Always.
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
You know me, I don't like going first. Someone else go first.
Paul, you're always our cleanup. You're our like pinch hitter or whatever.
You clean up
Well,
with
mostly
the
because
sweet.
I feel like I'm most likely to be negative Nancy, which I don't think I'm going to be today. But I don't want to if I am, I don't want that to be the first thing. You know what I'm saying?
You don't want to come out
Well, you know,
good
it's
news
funny.
first or bad news first. You go, Paul.
Yeah.
Chris,
Well,
you're our guy.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I watched this episode, you know, the openings, that dog fight scene is just unbelievable. And I don't want to give my whole review because it's such a, this was the longest episode by far, 55 minutes.
It's a lot
going on. So that dogfighting scene was awesome. But when I first watched, my first reaction to this was like, I did not like that episode. But then I've watched this one like 3-4 times, and I've actually done more research and more notes on this episode of Mando than I have probably on any other episode we've done. I thought I'm getting vibes that they're trying to really tie in the new order of how they come to be. I'm just get that feeling that when he's talking about cloning, he's talking about Palpatine, or that not that he's cloning Palpatine, but that's the technology that to clone Palpatine. Maybe they're trying to somehow he returned. Somehow they're trying to make it make sense.
Alive, right? Isn't Snoke some sort of like
he's the
cloning experiment, whatever? Yeah.
So I think they're trying to clone Snoke with the midi. I don't know. I thought that whole, because it was a long drawn out scene between the Doctor and that captain, and it was just kind of weird how this guy was doing speeches and had basically had everyone in his grasps and had auditorium filled with people like just doting on him and loving him. But somehow he's the only one that gets in trouble, and this other girl just is completely immune. And so I understand what they trying to do, and maybe I don't. I have theories, but I think where they're trying to go, but I thought the way they did it was a little lazy and a little like, I don't know.
Yeah, they aren't fucking Andor dudes, are they? And I think they need to stop trying to be.
That's what I was going to say, Curtis. My beef with this episode is I probably have the strongest case of Andoritis that you can have. And now that they're like getting into this sort of like sneaking around espionage, whatever the fuck, it's too much of a direct comparison to Andor. And when Andor was done so fucking well, it doesn't make this look very good. Mandalorian works better when it's like each episode's mildly standalone, different
30 minutes.
Different. Yeah. But like now that there's, again, we talked about this in the last episode or two. It's not enough stakes for him to get his helmet redeemed. We've been over that. But I also I'm not even sure I want The Mandalorian to be a series that's about the fate of the galaxy. And I think it smells like this episode is setting up to a broader, this season is going to be more about like the greater good of the whole galaxy into The Mandalorian. And that's concerning because just let Andor do that, because they're doing it so fucking well that there's no way. It's like, play to your strengths. Mandalorian isn't shitty, but if you're going to try to do what Andor does, you're going to make yourself look shitty. Whereas Andor probably couldn't make something feel as like fun and comic booky and like that sort of like Robert Rodriguez vibe when it just felt fun. Like Andor is more like serious, intense, great, but it's not necessarily where I go for like Saturday morning serial Star Wars fun.
Yeah,
and
like
and I'm worried that now we've lost the thread.
Like Andor is like Shakespeare, and this shit should be comic books, man. Not that comic books is a shitty art form, but like,
it's fun.
And these are the last two motherfuckers I want to catch up with, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's totally.
What's the? Yeah.
If you could pick like, any fucking people out of every Mando episode that you want to catch up with, it wouldn't be these two dickweeds.
It was definitely not be these dickweeds. I totally agree. And I'm with CG's point, too, about, like, this dude, like, and you said it in your rewind, Curtis, like, why is he's like giving this epic TED Talk where all these people, which, by the way, side note, did you notice the guy from Wayne, who was one of the people talking to him? That's a whole, if you have never seen the series Wayne, after this episode, go watch it immediately. It's fucking bonkers. Anyway, they're all celebrating him like he's some sort of reformed hero. And I guess the assumption is with this woman that double-crossed him, she was working this double-cross angle. I'm sure she was saying things like, you know, he's talking about the Empire. He wants to do this. He needs this equipment. Like the things that she must have said to get him in that much trouble where, like you said, CG, where she didn't get in trouble. She must have been working this from the first moment.
Yeah, you know? Right. She was, but is she evil? Like, obviously she's not. I mean, she's not good. But like, I think they're trying to like.
I didn't think of it until you guys just said it. I think you're right. I think they're setting up. I literally didn't occur to me until you guys just said it that yes, this is probably the beginning of the New Order and the beginning of the cloning of Snoke and Palpatine and all those things. And yes, I think she's a villain, still secretly working for whatever is left of the Empire, and this is the beginnings of Palpatine's, which of course we all know sucks because of all the things that were so forced and shitty and ad hoc in the sequel trilogy. It's the like, and somehow Palpatine has returned. It's like a fucking meme for a reason because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like
maybe they're trying to make it make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
But
it's just a one-liner. They should have, if they would have foreshadowed it, it would have been like totally worked. Well, I mean, it still would have sucked, but I don't know. Who gives a fuck? But yeah, dude, these motherfuckers need to chill. They need to be more. It's just it's getting too complicated, man.
Well, because sorry, go ahead, CG.
Oh no, I was just like, because I was reading about it, because I was trying to get more understanding of this, because I was like, why am I interested in these two characters?
Yeah,
I do get the sense that Moff Gideon is still around, because they were kind of talking about how I heard he escaped the thing, and like, oh, those are just rumors, like he got a mind flare. Yeah, awfully convenient that he escaped a warship, the number one, like, public enemy number one. But I saw like there's. It's so funny when you listen to other people talk about. It's like the symbolism and that captain or Gideon's head girl that was in this episode. How she likes the red cookies and she's eating the red popsicle, supposed to symbolize the Sith, that she's gonna help bring the Sith back.
Is his popsicle
Let's
blue?
Go get a photon fizzle. It was just yeah. No, his was purple, but it was just kind of corny. Like the music
corny
when they were in the fair.
Popsicles.
Come on, let me go buy you a photon fizzle. Like, let's go, Willy Wonka. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Totally. I know.
But I didn't need any of that, man.
So that just, I wonder, and I had the thought, I was like, why is she trying to erase this guy's mind? And then I think someone said, maybe she's doing that and going to try to pin it on the New Republic, saying, oh, they said they weren't going to hurt you, but they did. So you should trust me. Why should we trust these guys when they aren't going to let you do the work you want to do, and they're going to fry your brain?
But he's
so
not gonna
at first
trust
I was
her.
like, why?
Would he trust her now?
But
for any reason?
I don't know.
He is a dumbass. I mean, like,
he
the
is
only
a
thing
dummy.
he's good
But
at
also,
is
didn't they
cloning, which he kind of sucks at that too.
Well, didn't he say you were trying to wipe my memory? And they're like, well, we're doing a low dose or whatever. And then she cranked it. Like, I got the sense that he's not going to remember fucking anything.
Yeah.
Maybe even his research that he's been working on, which is why I was confused. Like, well, if they want this dude for their Palpatine purposes, you've just fried him. So maybe the idea
That's where I was confused.
Maybe the idea is they know the technology, they have all his research already, and her whole mission was just to put this dude out of commission so that he couldn't also give it to them. And they already they don't need him for fucking anything. They just want him eliminated because he seemed to be genuinely turned to the good in the amnesty program, and they just don't want him to ever be able to give them what they developed with the Empire, maybe?
Gosh, that's a lot of goddamn hoops.
Yeah, because that's one theory I heard was someone saying, like, oh, she's trying to pin the new... But I was like, well, because that's my thing. I was trying to figure out... That's why I watched this episode so many times. I was like, I'm trying to figure out the importance of this.
Yeah, right.
And why they spent 45 minutes in an episode. And there's only 8 episodes in a Mando season.
I know.
So why are we spending 45 minutes on this story? And because, I mean, maybe it'll go somewhere, maybe it won't.
I mean, if it doesn't, fuck.
It's clearly going somewhere. I think you're both right. They're clearly set. This is going to be the big overarching season-long narrative, and for all we know, this might be the next 2 or 3 season narrative, which again is a problem because this is what Andor does. Let Andor do this. I mean, and the thing that's a bummer for me. This episode was a step back for me because the last one was positive because whereas the first episode was like, what are the fucking stakes? I don't buy into this. Oh my God, I took my helmet off. Ooh, who fucking cares?
I don't want to admit it, but it's a step back for me too, man. Like,
but the last episode was a step forward in that it seemed like, they saw the mythosaur, and I was starting to come around to this, like, okay, I can see the sort of Mandalorian politics, and if I remove the 45-minute chunk of all the shit that happened on Coruscant and just think about the dogfight and then meeting up with the cult people in the cave and how she's kind of in there, and now clearly she is keeping a secret that she saw the mythosaur, which to me says that she knows that she's going to try to get with that mythosaur and be pals like the old traditions of her ancestors and use that thing like Mother of Dragon
wants
style.
To be friends with the mythosaur. And
isn't that kind of the deal? Like,
I think so.
The legend, right? Is that they made...
Well, she didn't believe it. Yeah.
Right. But now
that's the only way she's going to get her power back.
Right. No Darksaber. Oh shit! This mythosaur might be my key to ruling Mandalore again, and that's why she's keeping it to herself. Point. That is way more interesting to me than
yes.
this
Yes.
New Republic versus New Order, whatever the fuck they're doing. Because to me, that Mandalorian political struggle is plenty for a whole season's worth of stories.
Yeah, I don't need that in Mandalorian. Like, I was having so much fun at the beginning of this episode. That dogfight.
Yeah,
I was like,
that
here we go.
dogfight was
fucking. Here we go.
Dogfights never get old.
Yeah, I did find
Especially
it
with all the new
interesting,
technology, the way they can do the dogfights
it
now,
looks
they're
so good.
they're so gorgeous. Even that
those
dogfight in
interceptors.
Andor was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's all great.
yeah.
That shit's great. You're right, Curtis, because now it's so much easier for them to do that shit from an effects standpoint.
Yeah, they're not having to do the models. Man, god damn it.
Yeah,
They can bounce
But that
back. They
storyline's
can
cool.
totally be like, okay, we laid this groundwork. Let's go have some fun. But Jesus.
yeah. I hope
Yeah.
they. Yeah, but I found it interesting that because Bo-Katan's always finding a reason to take her helmet off, and I found it very interesting in that it almost made a point to not take it off.
Yeah.
Because I feel like every time we see her, she's always taking her helmet, no matter where she is, how she is. She's always and going back, she never takes that, even when she's flying. Usually, she's always popping that bad boy off. I almost think like she was a believer because in the episode before, she didn't even believe in the mythosaur. I got the impression, and he did fall. He wasn't taken. I think that was confirmed that he did just because the bombings took out the floor that he just fell down.
She probably
And
just
maybe
keeping her options open.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you gotta hold that ace.
That's an interesting take, CG. I took it a different way. Not that she was now a believer because she saw the mythosaur, that she was putting on airs for Mando because she wanted to have happen what did happen at the end, which is she can sort of feign belief in the way, so to speak, but secretly her motivation is, I'm gonna go make pals with this mythosaur and I'm gonna be Khaleesi and I'm about to rule Mandalore again, but I might need their help or I need them to, I don't know, whatever. There must be.
Yeah, she
I
could
took it as
become
there's
the
gonna be
leader of this fucking cult.
Right.
Yeah.
Like because they'll come, even the diehards, the religious dogmatic people will come around to following her if she's cruising around on a mythosaur.
On a mythy?
Yeah.
On a
Yeah.
mythy?
You ride that
Big boy
goddamn
Mando.
mythosaur, dude.
Yeah.
You get all the fucking perks you want.
That's
oh
right.
yeah, Big Boy Mando, who plays Favreau, I think plays that one.
I love that
He
guy.
does
Does
not.
he? Does that
He
Favreau?
seems a little. Yeah, I believe that's Favreau.
Oh, that's cool.
It is Favreau.
Is not happy. He definitely got the sense that he's up to no good or is
Yeah.
not a fan of what's happening here.
Yeah.
But I mean, those scenes were
still
cool.
a case? You took that to still be true even after they all talked? It seemed like the end they were all like
Yeah, but
super
he was the
buds.
only one. They did a shot going back to him where he didn't seem overly thrilled.
Oh,
where everybody
really?
was like, but
That dude is
yeah,
never
and remember
liked,
he challenged Mando in the Boba Fett because
That's
he
right.
wanted the Darksaber.
He didn't even
wants
like
to
him in
rule.
season 1.
No,
He's never liked
him.
that
He
son of
saves
a
him, but
I missed
I
that.
think he saved him once.
He
but
might
he's
be a
like,
little
I'm doing
jealous.
this because, yeah, oh yeah, I did like the Ralph McQuarrie droids.
Oh
Those are pretty
shit,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
The taxi driver is the
Yeah.
same concept drawing because you guys got me a Ralph McQuarrie book, which is amazing. Is the same concept drawing that Ralph McQuarrie did for C-3PO before they did the actual design. Did
Yeah.
you know that?
Yeah.
Was that what
Yeah.
you were saying
Yes.
before I cut you off?
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I was saying.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, not at all, man. You're
It's usually
good.
my job.
No, I love the reversal. It's a trap line to the Mon Calamari character
yeah.
when he's laying. That was a nice homage.
Yeah.
I also
Wait, I
heard
didn't
that
catch
when
that.
when the guy was on the table about to get his mind pooped
Yeah.
on, he says it's a trap. She trapped me, and they had that moment where they had a long shot where they're looking at each other like, "You serious, bro?"
Oh, killer! It was
Yeah.
Can
cool
use that
seeing
on-
all the guys though, the Mon Calamari guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those, I mean, the Mando scenes in this episode I liked.
Everything that has to do with the Mandalorian is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That whole thing in between, and you
Well-
could tell they're using Andor set pieces when they were in.
Yeah.
where
This
the heck?
theme
Coruscant.
is going to come up a lot, and I
I hope
asked
that
it
girl's
again.
not the big baddie.
Yeah, well, she's definitely going to be a link to who was a big baddie, but yeah,
she
might
works
be
for
the-
somebody.
Yeah, she
She
might be
works
the
for
big
somebody.
baddie for this. I do wonder though if at some point what I thought we would get at the end of Andor post credits instead of the Death Star cameo is we might get a Palpatine cameo eventually.
Ooh,
I'm okay
right?
with that.
Because I'm okay with that too. That's
Yeah.
fine as long as it's truly a very brief cameo. If he's like got 10 minutes of dialogue and he's now like the central villain of The Mandalorian, it's that same thing where, okay, well, now The Mandalorian's just a story about the fate of the galaxy, which to me is not what made it fun. And what the question I was going to ask that's going to always come up now is, would we feel this way about the Coruscant section of this episode had we never seen Andor? Are we sensitive to this being not as great because we've got something else that's checking that box already and it's done so well? And if we hadn't,
that's a great question,
stoked?
dude.
I don't think so, because I don't think it was written very well. Like it just didn't make sense.
I think I would have liked it a little better if I hadn't seen Andor.
Yeah,
I think you're right,
but
CG.
it's still not great.
Like, how did she not? Like, how is she this higher up? Because she's not that much higher up. Because the guy makes the comment. They make sure they can see your amnesty pin when you're new, and she has the same uniform he does. So that means she's fairly new as well. And you'd think this girl that's coming from Moff Gideon's ship, that's one of Moff Gideon's leading like lieutenant or whatever, is gonna. And the guy at the end is just like, it's a good thing you're one of the good ones. It's like, I don't think she is. How is she? Like, what work is she doing? That's
I think she's fucking
it just didn't
evil,
make
man.
sense. Oh, she's evil, but I don't understand how the New Republic's not
so trusting.
She's not getting in trouble, and so trusting of her.
Yeah.
When this guy's giving TED Talks in a sold-out auditorium,
I'm with you
about
on
how
that.
great of a doctor. Like, his track record, they must have their track records. He's clean. He even says, I've never done anything like this before.
That's
her
right.
track record, on the other hand, is
Totally.
pretty dirty. Her hands are dirty.
Yeah, Moff Gideon was a dick.
Yeah, so that was such a stretch to me, and I knew that was going to happen. I was like, oh, she's going to sell him out.
Yeah.
I didn't think she was going to sell him out to the New Republic. I thought she was going to sell him out to whoever
the Empire,
she's
or who's
working
left
for.
of the Empire. Yeah, right. Yeah,
Which would
I
have
think
been
I
a
agree
better
with you.
storyline.
I agree with you. It
was a
felt
stretch.
cheap. It felt cheap. It didn't feel. I think you're right. I think we both have a little gripe about the writing in this, Andor aside, but it's worse because we have Andor also. I mean,
definitely.
When you see it executed so well, and then you come to this.
Yeah.
I guess I'm probably not supposed to think this hard about Star Wars at some point, but how fucking stupid is the New Republic and the Rebellion in these stories? Like, they've got this elaborate amnesty program for the former Empire. Fine, I get that. But the idea that they just give them this long a leash. And then also, did anyone else think, like, if you want to make these people feel like they're not part of an evil empire anymore, maybe call them by their names? Like, they refer to them as L-52. Like, well, that's just going to make him feel like a new cog in a new machine. Same boss, you know, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Why can't they? I mean, maybe that's the point. The Republic fell before, the New Republic.
Yeah, they're
fall,
trying to make
like,
fucking little political statements and
bureaucracy is always a failing, no matter who's in. Like, eventually, power corrupts, kind of a thing. Maybe.
Well, it's also could be like how the New Republic fails. They could be like, this is why they fail. Because look, they're trying to be good. They're trying to have this amnesty program, but it's showing all the holes in it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like, this is how the new empire came back, and I don't know.
So
it's all too goddamn complicated, dude.
So what you're saying is it's a Republican argument for smaller government is really the message of the entire Star Wars franchise is a pro-Republican agenda for... I don't know, I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
But it does seem... you're right. It does seem like it's interesting what sort of themes are they introducing about... Because you're right. If you follow that thought thread, it seems like they're implying that once government or whatever we call it gets a certain size, it can't help but eventually fail in the world of Star Wars. Whether it's good guys or bad guys, eventually it gets too big to keep controlled or reasonable, and eventually shit goes down. I don't know. I guess we're all about to find out.
I mean, they
know.
are making a lot of political... Like, remember when they're in the fucking theater and those dudes, who I think one of the guys you said was on Wayne or whatever, they're like, oh, I don't give a damn. Public, Republic, Empire, whatever. It's like, obviously they're trying to make some like cheese dick political statement that like aristocrats don't give a shit or whatever.
As long as I'm rich.
Yeah. Good point.
But it's like, I don't know. Fuck, it's like I understand what they're saying, but it's like, fuck, dude, give me a dogfight. This is the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I know. It
I'm
almost
here for
felt
fun.
like... It almost feels like they knew people would feel that way because Lord knows they didn't need to have a whole dogfight. It was fucking awesome, and if it wasn't for that, we would be over here having like a way more negative conversation, because now we're like not sold on this new storyline, but at least we've got this arguably one of the best dogfights we've seen in a post Star Wars movie.
Dude, that dogfight was totally
honestly
added
needed
in.
it. Without that in this episode I would have been like,
but I guess the
poo-poo
connection
fest.
though is clearly, they even said the line, that's too many for an Imperial warlord or whatever it is. Like, clearly they're
But also,
implying,
where
like,
the fuck did those goddamn things come from? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's the point
Like,
they're making. That's why the characters said it out loud, and you see that, and then we go into this whole narrative where we see this like double cross. So clearly, what they're telling us through both like parallel storylines is that there are the sort of bubbling up of whatever will probably become the New Order and the former Empire is afoot, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess
Bo-Katan said she did something. She raided something, and I guess she pissed him off or something. So maybe she knows more.
Well, they
But
did
remember
steal
they
that
said
fucking
that.
ship.
But remember, they did that, and that was her explanation for why there were those ties. And then when there were like the TIE bombers, she specifically said, or Mando did, this seems like too much for a simple theft of a warlord. Like, they made a point of like that was their initial theory, and then they immediately debunked it. Like, wait a minute, this can't be because of that. This has got to be something else.
Okay.
And we never. And then before we learned anything more, we jumped to Coruscant and then spent the rest of the next 40 minutes watching that whole thing go down.
Fucking Coruscant.
So I don't know.
Dude.
I mean, again,
Every time Coruscant
stay-
pops up, I have PTSD, dude. I'm just like, oh
same.
shit.
Oh yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Like,
Why is
get
that?
off.
Is it
Get
prequel?
off.
Like prequel PTSD?
Prequel
maybe?
PTSD.
Yeah.
I
Fucking
also
prequel
I heard a theory, not a
PTSD.
theory. I was listening to some other guy. It's like always. He said always pay attention to the intro sequence when they do the.
Of course.
Because it says if it's more Favreau based, you'll see like Stormtrooper, Vader, R2D2, Mando, and if it's more Filoni based, you're gonna see Count Dooku. You're gonna see, Grievous. You're gonna see prequel. I didn't see. I guess this one was more Favreau, but
Filoni loves those goddamn
Filoni,
prequels,
baloney,
man.
I know he's a
I
great
wonder
dude.
if they're really trying.
He
I know he's
is
a great dude.
to
And
make-
he's a super fan, and at the end of the day, it's great to have people who are so passionate about Star Wars working.
They
on
do
it, but
care and love.
he just represents that huge component of the fan base that's not us. That's all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I can't help but get nervous anytime it's a Filoni heavy, which is why I'm nervous about Ahsoka. You know?
Yep. That's his baby.
Yeah, I know.
Oh God, I'm just a little worried because it's at the end of the day. Why should I care about this doctor and this lady? It was just kind of like I
and
didn't
he's-
really think they were that big in the last seasons. And keep it fun. Keep it
Also,
fun. And
that
like you say,
doctor-
you're right. I think Andor. Yeah. What's that?
That doctor, he's not a great actor, that guy.
No.
He's not crushing the role either. Not that he had like a lot to work with, but there were a few moments where I was like, this feels
Overacting.
like a B movie. Yeah, correct. Like really B movie level acting on that guy's part.
Yeah, what's
Again,
up with
I know
that
he didn't
ear
have much
shit?
to work with, but-
What's up with this? Him touching his ear? Is that some sort of tell?
He does do that a lot when he's talking about his mom and he
Like
did
when he
some stuff
lies,
and
is he
was like-
touching his ear, or is when he's serious? Like what
Maybe.
is it?
Oh, interesting.
I hate that
know.
I'm even fucking having to talk about this.
No, it's.
I hate that I'm
Those
fucking
stupid
even
little
asking this
popsicles.
stupid ass
As
question.
soon as I saw those popsicles, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Even if you did want to bring that, I mean, I'm gonna wait and bitch.
photon fizzle.
I'm gonna
Is that
I'm
what
gonna
they're
withhold
called? I think
all
I
my
missed that.
judgment.
No. Well, right at the end, it's such a corny thing. It's like after he was gonna touch the highest peak on Coruscant, she's like, "Come on, let me go buy you a photon fizzle."
Oh yeah.
Like,
And I
it's
also
just
didn't
so
even understand that.
fucking
Was
corny.
that like a piece of the top of the peak that they cut off and moved as a display?
Yeah,
Or was
is
that
it like
literally
is
the
it
peak underneath
intact or
them?
what? What's going on here?
I think that's the peak because I think the city's built up because in the
Got
prequels
it.
they go down. Like
Yeah,
you
there's
can
a
go
lot of
way down
levels.
into the.
It's like built on top
Yeah.
of one another and shit.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I don't know.
Fucking Coruscant.
It's so
I like
funny
the
the
idea of a
different
city
factions-
planet, though.
Yeah, me too. It's funny the factions of Star Wars fans because I'm certain, and I'm sure we can see when we poke around in the coming days, that there's going to be so many people who are fucking stoked to be back on Coruscant. All the prequel, people are going to think this is great. Coruscant, this, that, and the other. And motherfuckers like us,
They are.
that love Andor and what I would say like good storytelling will say, nah, dog, that ain't it. Let Andor be this world. go back to swashbuckling, fun Star Wars. You know, play with Mandalorian
Flash
history
Gordon.
and politics.
Dude,
whatever,
space
but not
pirates
this.
and shit.
Yeah, I want to see Grogu use the Force again. I don't need to see this shit.
Yeah.
No one cares. Again, it's
Man,
cool
I'm gonna-
to see some Andor. Really, kind of. Again, Andoritis is going to be real for us because even this,
It
like
is.
the visuals of, you know, decommissioned old Star Destroyers all torn up, like that is fucking cool for those of us
fucking
that
cool
have,
to see, man.
It's like, oh man, but
cool.
it's also been done in sequel trilogy and in Andor, and so it's been done so well that the initial like, oh cool, an old beat up Star Destroyer, been
Yeah,
there,
you're right.
done that, already seen it.
Yeah.
Not
It was
as
cool to see it in
Why
that Force Awakens trailer.
Yeah,
I was actually
So
so
easily
fucking
accessible,
excited,
too.
man, when Mando was starting because I was like, Andor is so heavy. I need a little bit of a palate cleanser. And now these
Yeah,
assholes
exactly.
are fucking muddying things up with all this political
Trying to keep
bullshit.
up, and they can't.
Fucking
I know.
clones and ears and
It makes you
popsicles
wonder,
and
do you-
fucking biscuits.
And biscuits. Her eating that stupid biscuit at the end. I was just
I know.
And like
The
they
most-
have a stop. Are you telling me like they have a train stop at the start because they were gonna get off at that stop? It's like so you're
Yeah.
telling me you have a stop at the freaking start like the store.
Yeah,
Like, you
they
kidding me?
That's
use
a
the
valid
same
point.
noise as
yeah. How
the
did they
subway
just
system
jumped off and
in
then
New
they
York.
just happened
Yeah.
to be? Yeah, it's like also if this amnesty
Yeah,
program is so
God.
specific and they've got specific housing, they didn't seem to have any trouble sneaking out into old Imperial tech. Like,
Nope.
where are you at? But I guess, again, maybe this is on purpose. The point is, yeah, the New Republic's not very good at being the New Republic, and that's why it doesn't work.
Yeah.
That I can get on board for. If that's where they're going with this, is it seems too easy because they're inept. And again, like that, Curtis, I think you're right. It's a good observation. When that dude was talking to him after the little TED talk and was like, "Oh, it's all the same," that's probably the point they're making. Is the big government
Yeah.
always ends up fucking it up one way or the other.
They mentioned some of that stuff in The Last Jedi too, because they're like, "Oh, it looks like they're selling ships to the good guys and the bad guys," which is fucking
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But I don't know if there's really a place for it in Star Wars, man. It's just like it's a myth. It's a story time. It's about good and evil. And you know, I love that Andor is about the gray area, but it's contained within its own
Amen.
beautiful show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're just trying to like
There's
use
a limit to it, too.
watercolors when there's oil paints and like I don't know.
Yeah.
Each one can have an identity and then stick to your identity within that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? God damn it.
I do know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm
I know
totally
what
with
you're
you.
saying.
And that sort of mythical thing that we don't get as much of in Mando because it's not about the Jedi and we don't have the Force, except for Grogu, of course, in those
You
moments.
get a little of
but
it
I was
with
yeah, but
Homeboy.
I was starting to get stoked on this Mandalore backstory and the mythosaur, and it's
Yeah.
not necessarily full-blown magic, but it has a little bit of a mythology that was bringing something welcomed to the story to sort of supplement Grogu's minimal use of the Force. And so
Yeah.
I was kind of coming around to that, but now it seems like that's going to be simultaneous to the, again, I remember we're probably spinning our wheels at this point. We're saying the
Clone
same
Wars.
points.
I think
Yeah.
you're right, Paul. You're fucking right. We are spinning our
Concerns,
wheels, but
not-
fuck them.
I'm concerned.
Moments
We're
of genius.
concerned.
Dogfight was genius. The end was cool.
Dogfight was
yeah.
gorgeous.
I'm
Fucking
curious to
killed
know
it.
what people think about this because I mean I was so confused. Like I said, first watch of this episode, I hated it.
Yeah.
And then I had to go back and I was like, and
I
I
was a
had to
little
try
bummed.
to find. I had to find reasons to not reasons to like it, but reasons to understand why they put so much. I
Yeah.
mean, this episode is 20 minutes longer than the first episode.
Yeah.
So why I was like, okay, obviously this is important if they're going to spend 45 minutes with this this storyline.
Yeah.
I think
So
they
I had
can
to
get
kind
back
of
on
find
track.
ways. Yeah, they can, and yeah, but it is. It was like we're on a roller coaster right now with Mando, and I'm hoping we're about to get back on the good
I mean,
side.
the
but you said it
cloning thing
yourself,
can
CG.
be okay if they do it in more of a fun way. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I
I
could think of a million different things that could be way more fun than fucking this cloning thing.
I'm with you, Curtis, though. I've got prequel PTSD because when I think about big clone storytelling on screen in Star Wars, that's the fucking prequels. And
The only time the Clone Wars was fucking cool is when Obi-Wan mentioned it and we made up
Exactly.
a cool... And then we
Yes.
didn't know what it was.
Exactly. Right.
It's like showing the shark in fucking Jaws all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, just like let it be a beautiful myth or a backstory that's like a mystery.
Yep.
If you fucking like have no shadows and shine a light on everything and then like over explain the fuck out of everything for 18 goddamn episode fucking series of cartoons and shit. You guys know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're
God.
saying. I worry Filoni doesn't get that. I think he's a Star Wars freak like the rest of us, but that less is more, don't see the shark. I don't know that he innately signs up for
he wants
that.
to see the shark. He wants to see He wants to see the shark in every fucking... I'll be back. I gotta go turn back on my monitor. But keep rocking,
got
y'all.
that stupid cowboy hat on. He wants to just ride it all.
Poor Filoni. I love how we shit on this guy all the time, as if he's not like
I know, but
the greatest dude ever and just a fellow Star Wars dork that happened to fall into the greatest job in the world for a Star Wars nerd.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, good for him, but
totally. And I recognize
maybe they're trying to make the prequels.
Yeah, I have to keep acknowledging that we don't represent the majority of the Star Wars fan base anymore. At our age and what we grew up on, there's a whole second and even third generation of people that came up on this stuff way later. And to them, the prequels are the fucking best. I think they're fucking psychos. But they do exist.
I think if you were a little kid, though.
I was fairly young when the prequels came out, and I remember being pretty excited to go see them. And even at being a young age, I would almost say the prime age to go see a Star Wars film, and I still hated it.
I think you can't,
even as a kid,
be like drinking. I was in college, and I watched Phantom Menace literally probably 12 times in theaters, just trying to wrap my fucking head around it.
Same.
Yeah.
I tried
because I wanted
hard.
to love it. I tried.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie in theaters more times than I've seen anything.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Same. I did 100% the same experience. I really made an effort to love it because I kept leaving feeling not stoked. But my brain wanted to be more stoked than I'd been in 2 decades from the last time there was fucking Star Wars.
It's
happening.
like you couldn't admit it. You couldn't admit it that you didn't love it. And then you finally and then the internet came out and everyone was like, this sucks, and you're like, fuck, you're right, it sucks.
Yeah, it's like,
and then fast
Chris
forward
Farley
15
and Black
years.
Sheep when he falls in. What the hell was that all about?
Yeah. Well, then 15, 20 years later, all those people who were genuine children who were stoked on Jar Jar Binks and the droid armies and this, that, and the other, now they're grown-ass people, less grown than us, but still grown-ass, and they think it's great. So,
I think
again.
I don't know.
Choose your own adventure in the world of the Star Wars franchise, and I guess that's the thing that's constantly creeping up for me in this new season of Mandalorian. Is like, shit, is the Mandalorian about to be sectioned off to the things that I don't follow or care about?
Yeah,
because I'm like an Andor Rogue One guy.
Yeah,
for
like
me,
season 1 and 2 Mando, and
it
cut it off at that. Because those first two, it ended perfectly.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm curious to know what other people. Please tell us what you think. About
get in
this.
the comments.
Anyone else?
I'm with you.
I'm curious.
Yeah, please get in the comments on this one. Send us a video.
Yeah, send in videos, please.
Let's get in there because we will directly address anything you mention, especially if it's in a video. I think we need to make a better effort of going through the comments and responding to specific comments people are making in the
I've been doing
YouTube
that.
vids.
I've been the last few times because that's where I kind of learned about him.
I quote him here and talk about him on the episode. So
I like
we'll
that.
do that. So
we can have a section.
Keep commenting, and we'll put it in our notes
that.
what y'all are saying, and we'll bring up your points if you don't want to send a video, and we can get into that.
Yeah, nice
but
one.
Because you're right, CG.
Bear with
this
us,
is a
guys.
pivotal moment. Yeah.
It really is.
Bear with us on Scandals.
We
all have other jobs and kids and shit going on, so we're doing our very best to keep up with this. But we are committed and we love it. But sometimes shit gets in the way. But we are fucking doing our best to stay on schedule, and we love this shit.
Hell
Love
yeah! Like, comment, subscribe, tell all your fucking friends, and Curtis, you know what to do, dog.
Let's get the fuck out of here and definitely not going to Coruscant.